Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. So let us learn how to use PowerPoint with the help of the example of the lintel beam that we started in the previous lecture. And we're going to create a PowerPoint presentation for this example. So I click on the search and I'll write PowerPoint and I click on PowerPoint. It will show me the screen to either start from a blank presentation or from an existing style. So for now, because we are doing it for learning purpose, let's start from the scratch using a blank presentation. You will see it will start with a blank slide with some other design ideas if you like. Let me close this. Again, the tabs as in Microsoft Word can be used to open the menu, but you can keep the menu appearing by using this continuously on the top by saying show tabs. Now this is the title slide, so it is showing us to click to add title. But if you add a new slide by clicking this button or from here to choose a different style, so that if you need a title and some content at the bottom, or maybe two group of contents with a title on this slide, you can select them from here. For now, let me just click on new slide button to add a new slide. We can quickly add another slide by pressing Ctrl M on the keyboard. Now you will notice that they both have a different format. So whenever we add a new slide, it always have the first basic style as this with the title and some content portion, while the main title slide had this format. So let me add a title of design of lintel beam. Always there is a day of presentation, so it's better to have a date mentioned as well. You can always add logos. For example, for now let me add this as a logo by copying it and pasting it in PowerPoint anywhere, clicking anywhere on the screen and then pressing Ctrl V. We can have this. You can increase or decrease the size, and you may get these ideas for arranging this picture. But for now, let me close it and let me arrange it at the top right, for example. Now, if it is a marketing presentation, we would like it to be very fancy and beautiful. But if it is a technical presentation, the main purpose is to keep the point clear. So keep your presentations as simple as possible, just like what I'm doing. You can always select and change the format of the text. You can always drag the handles to arrange. You will always see guides for arranging these texts or text boxes. Now you will notice there is no page number neither on the first nor on the second or third slide. You can go to insert slide number and select slide number, and it will show you where it will appear. If you want date and time to appear at the bottom, you can do that. And if you want a specific text to be always available at the bottom, you can write that as well. For example, for now I'll say design presentation. If you want all these things to be shown on all the slides, keep them selected and say apply to all. But if you don't want them to appear on all slides and you just want it to appear on a single slide you have selected, just click on apply. Or if you want it to be applied to all but you don't want it to be shown on the title slide, which is most common, you select don't show on title slide. So for now, I do not want to show all these things on the title slide, but I want them to be available on all rest of the slides. So I say apply to all to this. So now at the end of this slide, I can see the date and time and the base title I wanted and the page number. It is also appearing on the second slide as slide number 2, and nothing like that on the title slide, just as I wanted. Now for example, I want on every slide here this to be arranged in a different way. You can see I can select it and change its position for this slide, but this will not apply to the next slide and all other slides. Imagine if we have hundreds of slides, we can not edit every slide by doing so. So I go back to this slide and do undo to this. So in order to apply one change to all slides like this related to the slide, you can go to view and slide master. Now this will open the styles and formats of all these slides for us. For example, this is the title slide as we were editing first of all, and we said we don't show these things at the bottom. While this is the second common type of slide that we were using, we had two slides of this format with us. Now I want this, for example, to be written just at the end near the slide number here, maybe like this, and slide number be in the center, for example, something like this. And I want that every title block like this should have a style, maybe like this. Now once I'm okay with formatting anything on the slide master for any style of slide one by one, I can say close master view, and now you will see all similar style slides have the same style. So now if I go and click on new slide, it will appear with the same format. But if I add a new slide of a different type, maybe this one, it will have the same as in the master slides. So if you want them to be changed for all similar slides, you can do that from view slide master as we just did. Now in the second slide, we always write the roadmap of our presentation, where we tell that first of all I will give introduction, and then I will talk about the analysis, where if I press tab I can write sub item as bending moment diagram, and then enter, shear force diagram will be shown. If I press enter and say shift tab, I can go back to the previous level and then write the next item as design calculations, and the last final design. So this shows that I'll have about 5 slides, and in these slides I will be presenting all my work. So in Microsoft Word we write very much detailed document providing as much information as we can, but here in slides of PowerPoint we show minimal information on the screen with attractive figures, and we speak about these things while presenting. So in the next slide, let's say I want to add shear force and bending moment diagrams from my Excel sheet. So I click on bending moment and I copy this into my slide here. Now if I click here and say Control V, this all will get replaced by that. But if I undo that and click outside here and then say Control V, it will be pasted as a separate figure than this. It is always useful to keep checking your presentation quality, how it will appear on the screen. So you can click on this button to start slideshow, or you can also show the slideshow by clicking this tab and selecting either from beginning or from this particular slide. So for now, let me click from current slide. So this is how this slide will look like once presentation is on. I want this graph to be larger. I press escape to go back and I increase the size of the graph. Notice that this text is shown here, but this is just to tell us what to do here. It does not appear on the presentation. So here I'll say analysis result, for example. My actual coming slide need to be introduction, but then just for explanation purpose I'm creating this next slide. So I select this, I increase the size of all fonts in it to be more clearer. I click on this box and delete it. I don't need it. I move it to a one position, and then I copy the shear force diagram, and this time I paste it here as image. So notice it is now a picture. There is no selectable text in it, but then its design is as it is in Microsoft Excel, while this one, if I change its size, its font and shapes are changing accordingly. But then this has everything of the same aspect ratio. So it is handy to usually show these graphs as pictures. Now if I want that once I'm on this slide, first of all, let me show this on the screen. First of all, it shows the title, and then it by clicking it shows us this, and then by clicking it shows us this, and then once we click we go to the next slide. So in order to animate that, let me click on the next slide, and just to identify it as a next slide, I'll write some different title to it, for example design. So click on this slide, and now I want to first, once the slide appears, nothing else to be there except the title. So I want then this to come once I press any key. So I select this and click on the animation tab, and then I select one of the techniques of how I want it to appear. So there are a variety of ways that we can select for it to appear on the screen. For example, let me select float in for this. Now if you click on animation pane, you will see that one number animation is listed here, and how it will work, it will click by clicking on the keyboard or mouse pointer. Then click on the second object, and let's bring it in by maybe some other pattern of bouncing, for example. Now this is the second number as is shown here. So once I select this, it gets selected there, or if I select here, it gets selected there. We can increase the duration of bounce or increase the duration of this to slide and appear in as we want. We can rearrange this by first this happening, number one, and then this happening, or we can reverse it if we want by sliding it here. So let's go to this and see how it goes. So this time I go to the slideshow from here. So it starts with the blank slide with the title only. When I press any key, number one, it appears with the same speed as set, and then with the next key it bounces on the top, and with the next key press this appears like this. Now if I want that once it appears without pressing any key, after a few seconds this should appear automatically. So I select this, and instead of on click I say with after previous. Now once this animation is complete, as you can see here, once this animation will complete, only after that it will start. So let me just show you a demo. So if you press any key now, as soon as this ended, this started. But if I select this and say with previous, you will see as soon as this will start automatically, and these both are considered as one, as a single animation. So now this time if I press this and press a key, both of them started all together. Now there are not only animations for having objects entering into the screen, but we can also do something for exit as well. For example, for now if I select this and title, and then from the menu, instead of entrance, I can either emphasize or make an exit to it. So let me emphasize it by growing and shrinking like this. So this time the presentation is this, and then the emphasis of the title, and then the next slide. So let's also Now, in order to make an exit to it, if I select this and try to select it from here, for example, fly out, it actually has replaced the second animation with flying out. So if I run it now, you will see it is appearing on the screen. With the first enter, it just brings it in. With the second, it just flies out, and then the emphasis. We don't want that. We want this and this to appear together. So let me select this and change it to bounce once again, but this time also with the previous one. So now both of them are one, and while selecting this one, instead of selecting a new animation from here, I click on add animation button here, and I add another animation of exiting to it. For example, fly out, but this time not in this direction, but actually in this direction. Notice we have now one, this will appear along with this because it's also one, and then in that number 2 this will get emphasized, and then at number 3 this will get exit. So let's run this and see how it works. So nothing on the screen first, both of them together, emphasis, and then the exit of the last. So this is how we can animate objects in one slide. If you are interested, you can play around with all other different techniques of animating a slide and making your presentations more and more attractive. While presenting, you may like notes to appear on the screen, so you can click on view notes to show you notes at the bottom. So notes off and notes on. Now once they are there, for a particular slide you can write notes for yourself. For example, here I can write first of all I want to show bending moment diagram and then the shear force diagram. Now once you will be presenting on the full screen like this, on the projector you will be seeing all this, but on your laptop you will see a set of notes at the bottom to help you reading. The last slide should be about thanking, so I will say thank you and press Ctrl E to bring it in the center. I don't need these elements on it, so I just select and delete them. I can click and drag any part. So let's run this whole presentation from the start by either pressing F1 or clicking on slideshow from beginning. The first slide, second slide, third with the animations in it, and then next slide and the last slide. This concludes this presentation. So in today's lab, what you have to do on the basis of the Excel work that you did in the previous lecture, where you drawn the shear force and bending moment diagrams and then the whole analysis, you have to write a report in Microsoft Word of a few pages. Don't write too much on it, but just to demonstrate that you have learned these skills and just to that you have practiced them well. You write a report on it, not like how I did it, but a proper report with proper writing on it. And after that, you also have to create a PowerPoint presentation. So I just have not added so many required things in this presentation, but then on the basis of all the Excel work that we did earlier, you have to create this presentation as well, and then upload that presentation and the Word document on the Google Classroom. Good luck for today.